So those watching on the talkSPORT Cricket YouTube channel will immediately see that Ben Duckett and I are wearing his bucket hats, Duckets Buckets. Ben, tell us firstly about this and why you set up Duckets Buckets.
Yeah, thanks. Well, firstly, surprised to see them out here, so thanks for that. It was actually something that my missus had kind of the idea. It was the Ashes summer, and I remember we all had bucket hats on and they kind of took off. I think the England one sold out pretty quick, so we kind of just had this idea in the background, especially whilst Paige, my girlfriend, was pregnant and not working, that she could do a bit of this stuff behind the scenes, which she's very good at. Yeah, I've just got the name that rhymes with it, to be honest. That's about all I do. But yeah, it went pretty well last summer. I think it's one of those things where, especially when I'm busy, trying to stay on top of and stuff. But yeah, hopefully we're gonna, bring out some caps and stuff, which might sell a bit more in the winter than these bucket hats.
And how important is it to have something other than cricket to focus on? Because we know how intense international cricket is for you.
Yeah, well, you're right. And to be honest, something that who knows if I'll continue to start kind of do it after cricket. But yeah, it's kind of a bit of fun at the minute. I haven't really gone too seriously with it. But yeah, as I said, it went pretty well, and we'll see how it goes.
Perfect. Let's talk to us about playing in this team. How much have you enjoyed it, and how much does it suit you as a batter?
Yeah, well, both of those things really. I've loved every second of being a part of this group. I know everyone speaks a lot about Baz and Stokesy, but everything is true, and it certainly gets the best out of me. I always play my red ball cricket kind of this way. And even we saw little things like last week chasing 100. It's not something we spoke about before we went out there, but you've got full license to go out there and try and get the job done as quick as you can. And I know at times I've probably spoken and it can look reckless, but even when you're chasing 110, if you're 15 for 3, you never know how that game could go. So even a couple of overs last week, you hit 15-20 off back-to-back overs, the game's done. And that kind of freedom that you have, and you're allowed to go, and I scooped on 0 when we were 1 for 1. Those kind of things that I wouldn't have even done in county cricket, but Baz kind of says, if the field's there and you play that kind of shot well, then go out there, and you've got the full backing that if you get out doing it, you're not going to get hammered in the dressing room. And I feel like when you play under a coach who is like that, more often than not that you'll pull off the shot.
And you average 40 plus in this team, so it's more reward than risk at the minute. But where did you get that aggressive, positive style of play from? Who did you grow up idolising, basically, wanting to be like?
I mean, my favourite player growing up was Brian Lara, so I'm certainly not half the player he was, and incredible flair to watch. I don't really try and necessarily be like anyone now I'm playing, but I kind of figured out a way that probably works for me, and I've always done that. It's not even even in county cricket I score at a good rate, but I generally try and stick to my areas. I'm not trying to necessarily go away from what I do well in white ball cricket. It's a similar kind of game plan, which is play the ball as late as possible, but if the ball's in my area to score, then I'm going to look to try and put the bowlers under pressure. I find in Test cricket the bowling attacks you come up against are so good. If I let them bowl to me and try and be someone I'm not, then I'll probably fail more times than I'll do well.
You mentioned your girlfriend earlier. It's your first sort of winter as a dad. How has that changed sort of your perspective on cricket? And if you get out for a duck, then cricket's not all the be all end all, is it?
No, look, it's certainly harder touring now because of that. Which is the downside, and people obviously look at us playing in these incredible places, and we're so lucky to do what we do, but the amount of times you do spend in hotel rooms and away from loved ones, that can be challenging, but yeah, I don't think I dwell as much as I used to on low scores. It's in a good way, like, not that I don't care. Every time I put on an England shirt I want to go out there and score 100, but the reality is, as an opening batter, I'm not going to do that. But it does make those tougher days easier. Even a FaceTime back home, and I see my daughter smiling. It's pretty cool. So yeah, it's certainly changed my look on life. Hopefully for the better on the cricket pitch.
And your aspirations, not only red ball but white ball as well. We see Brendon taking over from January. How much do you want to be part of that? Not only the ODI side but the T20 side going forward as well.
Yeah, I mean, before I got called into this squad, I probably saw my England career being more in the white ball side. So it's strange how I've played two years now of Test cricket and actually not played that much white ball. But I really enjoyed opening the batting against Australia at the end of the summer. It's actually something that I haven't done a lot of in the white ball game. So yeah, hopefully I'm selected for that India series, and I can really put my foot down. And I'm really excited to see Baz coach that one-day group. I think the talent of one-day cricket in England is right up there in the world. It's just finding a way to put that into performances and getting the best out of people. And I think what Baz has done with a lot of the younger lads in this Test group, I think if you're a 21-year-old now trying to make your way in white ball cricket, now's the time to do it, because he will get the best out of each and every single player.
And you look at what's to come over the next 12 months, not only red ball with the Ashes and India hosting India, but the Champions Trophy as well. So I know it's important not to look too far ahead because anything can happen, but just how excited are you for what's to come over the next 12 months?
Yeah, I think the opportunity, there's so much cricket to be played, to be honest, moving forward now probably for the rest of my career, and I'm in a position which I haven't been in my whole career, where I've got opportunities to play for England for the next however many years. So I think actually in a way the fact of my career, the first half of it where I probably didn't play as much as I'd have liked, I think that's probably made me hungrier and made me almost desperate in a way to stay in playing for England in all three formats. So yeah, I think the reason why I got back in the side was not looking too far ahead, taking each game on and not being complacent, and that's something that I'm going to take forward for the rest of my career. Every Test match I play, even though there is no pressure on me, I want to go and score runs and make sure that there's kind of no reason to drop me.
What's it like? Talk to us about Zach. What's it like being his opening partner, and why is it that both of you get the best out of each other?
Yeah, the obvious ones with the height.
Yeah.
The lengths that the bowlers have to bowl are obviously very different. Especially with the bounce out here. We had a net next to each other before the last game, and he was probably driving the balls that I was cutting and pulling. Yeah. So the field you have to set, the lengths you have to bowl, and obviously being left-right, I think a lot of bowlers bowl round the wicket to me. Mm-hmm. If we're nicking singles every now and again, like they're having to bowl over the wicket, round the wicket, change their lengths. And I think I don't know what Zach was like before I opened with him, but I think we really enjoy walking out there together. As soon as we walk out, we're having a laugh and we're not putting too much people under pressure. I've batted with people who don't talk much, or you're kind of out there, in your own little bubble trying to get yourself through. But I think me and Zach are very good at, complementing each other. And, when, for example, that first ball, the Ashes, I'm walking down going, it's just ridiculous. And things like that. And I think those comments probably help him, and it certainly does when he does that to me. So, obviously we didn't fire together in the first Test, but fingers crossed this week we'll go all right together.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.